The house on Willow Creek Road. In the quiet outskirts of Willow Creek, just beyond the tree line where the road turns to gravel, stood the Marrow House, a decaying two-story farmhouse that had been abandoned for nearly 50 years. Locals called it the Screaming House, a name born from countless reports of strange noises echoing through the empty fields at night. Few dared to go near it after sunset, but for Emma Ward, a 26-year-old documentary videographer, fear had always been the reason to press record. She had built a small but growing YouTube channel dedicated to real-life explorations of forgotten places, hospitals, factories, and prisons. But this was different. The Marrow House had a reputation not just for being haunted, but for being dangerously active. Several thrill-seekers had tried to film inside over the years, but most left within minutes, shaken and refusing to talk about what they'd seen. Emma was determined to change that. Armed with 2 night vision cameras, an EMF detector, a thermal scope, and a single lantern, she arrived just before dusk. The house looked like it was exhaling its last breath, boards hanging loose, roof sagging, the front door barely holding onto its hinges. She parked her car a few meters away, setting up her first camera to capture the exterior. "This is it," she whispered into her mic, her breath visible in the cold evening air. October 12th, 2022. No crew, no tricks, no edits. One night inside the Marrow House. Inside, the air was heavy, a damp mixture of rot and dust. Wallpaper peeled like dead skin from the walls, and the faint smell of smoke lingered as though someone had recently lit a fire. She set her second camera at the base of the stairs and began her walkthrough. The first hour was uneventful. The creaks of the wooden floorboards and distant hoots of an owl were the only sounds. Emma spoke softly to her camera, narrating the house's grim history. In 1974, the Marrow family, parents and 2 children, had vanished without explanation. Neighbors found their dinner plates still on the table, food untouched. Police scoured the woods, drained the nearby creek, but the family was never found. Since then, residents reported screams and lights flickering inside at odd hours. At 10:17 p.m., while reviewing footage in the living room, Emma's EMF detector spiked. The beeping startled her. "Okay, that's strange," she muttered, pointing the camera toward the corner, where the temperature suddenly dropped from 18 degrees Celsius to 9 degrees Celsius. The lantern flickered once, then steadied. She took a deep breath. "If anyone is here with me, please make a sound." A door upstairs slammed shut. Emma froze, every muscle tense. She glanced at the staircase, the top of it swallowed in darkness. That door was open," she said quietly. She gathered her camera and climbed the stairs, her boots groaning on each step. The hallway stretched long and narrow, lined with faded family photos. As her flashlight beam drifted across them, she noticed something odd. Every face in the pictures had been scratched out. Her heartbeat quickened. She reached the last door, the one that had slammed. It was now ajar. She pushed it open, camera first. Inside was what appeared to be a child's bedroom. Dusty toys scattered across the floor. A rocking horse frozen mid-sway. "Hello," she called. The only reply was the faint creak of that same rocking horse, moving now on its own. Emma backed away, whispering, "This isn't wind, it can't be." She decided to set her thermal camera in that room for overnight monitoring. As she turned to leave, her handheld picked up a faint whisper, impossible to make out but undeniably human. When she replayed it seconds later, the sound was clearer. "Don't leave us." Emma's hands trembled. She packed her gear and retreated to the downstairs living room, refusing to look at the staircase again. The hours dragged. Around 2:46 a.m., she finally fell asleep on the dusty couch, her cameras still rolling. At exactly 3:02 a.m., the exterior camera outside caught something horrifying. A pale figure standing in the upstairs window, staring down at her car. Then, seconds later, another appeared beside it. 2 silhouettes, motionless, watching. Inside, Emma stirred awake to the sound of a child humming. The lantern flickered once more, then went completely dark, and in the camera's night vision lens, something began to move toward her. The footage that shocked the world. Emma's scream was never captured on the main camera, only the sound of her sudden gasp, followed by a violent jolt as the lens tumbled sideways onto the dusty floor. The frame showed only the couch's edge and the faint flicker of her lantern light, which returned briefly before dying for good. But the audio kept rolling. 3 hours later, at sunrise, neighbors noticed Emma's car still parked in front of the Marrow House. The engine was cold. Her phone was found on the front steps, flashlight still on. By mid-morning, police entered the building after getting no response. They found her sitting upright on the living room floor, dazed, trembling, and barely able to speak. She was clutching her camera to her chest like a lifeline. When officers questioned her, Emma could only say one thing, over and over again. They were behind me. I felt them breathing. It wasn't until she recovered enough to review the footage that the true horror of that night came to light. The first review. The video began with the same calm narration, Emma introducing the house, setting up cameras, describing the strange cold spots. Then came the recorded whisper, "Don't leave us." But what followed after 3 a.m. turned the footage into something no one could explain. At 3:01 a.m., the camera in the child's bedroom activated on its own. The thermal image showed two figures forming out of thin air, first faint and hazy, then solid. Their heat signatures were impossible, neither hot nor cold, simply voids. Both turned toward the door, where Emma had last stood. Then, from the living room camera, faint footsteps approached. The static deepened, warping the sound. Emma, half asleep, murmured, "Who's there?" Through the camera's grainy night vision, a shadow stretched from the wall to her shoulder, long, thin, and moving independently of her body. It lingered, then bent down close to her ear. The microphone captured a low whisper, "You came back." Emma woke with a start. Her eyes widened, scanning the room, though nothing appeared to be there. Still, the camera lens adjusted, as if tracking movement just outside its view. The couch shook once. A child's giggle echoed faintly. The final moments of the video showed Emma's terrified expression as she looked toward the staircase. In the dark hallway behind her, multiple shapes began forming, some small, others tall and human-like. For a split second, their faces flashed into view, hollow eyes, distorted mouths, and a faint glow outlining their figures. Then the camera crashed to the floor. The investigation. Authorities and investigators spent months analyzing the video. Audio engineers confirmed that none of the sounds matched natural frequencies within the house's structure. No evidence of digital manipulation or added effects was found. Even more disturbing, when technicians tried to enhance the whisper, they discovered there were 4 distinct voices overlapping, all saying the same phrase, "Don't leave us." Emma's equipment was tested by experts in visual forensics. The thermal camera logs confirmed a sudden temperature shift in multiple rooms between 2:59 and 3:04 a.m., each drop lasting exactly 17 seconds, then returning to normal. The footage quickly spread online, uploaded initially to Emma's small YouTube channel. Within 24 hours, it amassed over 12 million views, sparking debates among skeptics, scientists, and paranormal researchers worldwide. Some called it the most authentic supernatural evidence ever recorded. Others dismissed it as mass hysteria, claiming the mind sees what it wants to believe. But then came the detail no one could explain. When one viewer slowed the footage to 0.25 speed and brightened the image, a faint reflection appeared in the glass window behind Emma, 4 shadowy outlines standing together. One of them, according to facial pattern analysis, matched Emma's own features. Aftermath. Emma never returned to the Marrow House. Following the event, she retired from documentary filmmaking entirely and relocated to a small apartment in another state. In interviews, she rarely spoke about that night, only confirming that she had no memory after 3:02 a.m. and that she still woke up occasionally to that same whisper in her dreams. Local authorities sealed the Marrow House for safety reasons, citing structural instability. But trespassers who attempted to enter after dark often reported hearing faint knocking sounds or seeing light flickering in the upstairs window, though no power remained connected to the property. In 2023, a paranormal research team visited the site with permission. Their live thermal readings showed sudden energy spikes in the same room Emma filmed. The team fled when a child's voice was clearly heard through their microphone saying, "We're still waiting." The video of that incident never went public, Its files were corrupted before upload, showing only a distorted thumbnail, the silhouette of a woman, holding a camera, standing in the doorway of the Marrow House. To this day, Emma's original video remains one of the most studied pieces of paranormal evidence on the internet. Whether what she captured was a haunting or a reflection of something far more psychological, no one can say. But one thing remains certain: whatever lives inside the Marrow House didn't want to be forgotten. And thanks to Emma's recording, it never will be.